I'm taking a strap. I'm strapped up.
Seven, what was that about?
Let's make the fight happen. We strapped the fuck up.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 249 of the SZN podcast. I'm your boy Kam.
I'm your boy Flowz.
And as always, guys, let me hit you with my usual housekeeping message before we start the episode. Please make sure you head over to our Twitter pages and our Instagram page. That's SZN Pod or SZN Podcast. There's a link in the bio on both of those pages there. And that'll take you to where we're situated at streaming-wise. So if audio is more your steez, then we've got the Apple Podcast, Spotify, Podcast, all those links there. And if you like visuals, the YouTube link is also there. And other things such as TikTok links and that kind of stuff. So make sure you do that for us, guys. Much appreciated. We want to engage with you guys. We want to, chop out with you guys. So make sure you do that. But Flowz, first things first, as always. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. I'm good, man. Both in different locations this time round, but how are you?
Yeah, man. Usually we're close by, but this time, worlds apart, legit. Yeah, man, I'm good. Tired, but very, very good. Looking forward to this episode right here, bro. I think there's only one place to start. There was one. Shook his head straight. There was one UK card that happened over the weekend, over in Scotland. Queensbury card, making his Queensbury debut, Mr. Josh Taylor. Well, not only was he making his Queensbury debut, he was making his welterweight debut as well, Close. We can't forget that. His first fight at 147. Yeah. First fight under Mr. Frank Warren. We said Josh Taylor, he's going to be fighting Essuman. And, I kind of called last pod that, Josh Taylor is kind of coming towards the end of his career, as we know. And I think I said that, we haven't seen a good Josh Taylor performance in over 4 years. So this was a chance for him to, I guess, show the world what he's got left, but also separate himself from someone like Essuman, who is a good fighter. We know quite well, not British level, but good fighter in terms of, here in the UK. But if Josh Taylor has anything about him still, he should be winning this fight, one, but also showing levels, because Essuman has never even been close to the level that Josh Taylor's been in. But Flowz, what can we say, man? Is it over? Is it over for Mr. Taylor?
Yeah, I think it is, man. I think it's fair to say it is. Because look, the fact that we were even discussing the idea of Essuman winning, like we discussed it at length last episode, when in reality we shouldn't be. And there's a reason why we were discussing it at length. And it's shown because he's lost. he's lost. And we said, we talked about the upset of Johnny Fisher and Dave Allen, and we said he can't let another upset happen to him. He hasn't won a fight, if we're counting the cattle gift he got, since he became undisputed. So it's clear he's fallen off a cliff. And at the time, we said he should be beating a cattle. That in fact, we said there's no way in hell a Jack Catterall should beat Josh Taylor.
Bro, I remember it vividly. The episode when we previewed that. Yeah, I remember it.
We said, look, we both said we like Catterall. It's not that we don't rate Catterall. We both said we like Catterall. But Josh Taylor was at his peak, the top dog in the division, undisputed, won it cleanly. I guess there was some disagreement about the Regis fight, but I thought he won that. And since then, he's fallen off hard. And all their men are falling off hard, we said last episode. They're all food now, is the fact.
Yeah, that whole crop is done, to be honest, bro. It's almost like the stretches and kiss of death, right? Because I remember vividly, right, the episode where this is the preview pod for Catterall Taylor. And we've said, even listeners, if you want to be treated to something, if you want to be treated, go and watch Josh Taylor Catterall and see what we're talking about, what the hype is about with Josh Taylor. And ever since we put out that little bat signal for people to check out Josh Taylor, bro, he's been poor. We haven't had the good performance for such a long time, bro. It's been mad. There's a few things I want to discuss in terms of like this decline. We'll get to the performance, right? But this decline in Josh Taylor, bro, because the ascent to the top was swift, in my opinion.
Yeah.
By 17 fights, he become undisputed. I think it was 17 fights, right? he was undisputed in 17 fights. And the levels he went through, like he was fighting at like, obviously we know he's got a great amateur background. I think he was Commonwealth Games gold medalist. But it's like he's gone from that, to an Ahara Davis quickly. The next thing we know, he's fighting for titles, double world, dual world, unified world champion. He's fighting in that tournament. Next thing you know, he's undisputed. 17 fights. He's done it really quickly, bro. So it was a very swift rise to the top. But we couldn't predict this, I think, the fall off, like how it went, how it's gone down. Why do you think the decline has also been just as swift? It's mad, bro. It's a crazy decline. Why do you think it's been so swift? I can't
I don't
recall
know.
seeing an ascent and a fall and rise so fast.
But because it falls in line with Regis and JCR, like they're all at the top and they've all dropped around the same time.
So you think it's probably like just that class that they just peaked
yeah,
early and then
it's boxing as well. You got to realize that we see these guys fight 2-3 times a year, so the decline happens between fights, really. So as these fights are happening, then they start to dip in confidence. Training camp gets harder. They get older. Maybe the hunger isn't there as much. Yeah, and I think Josh Taylor had a few injuries because the Catwall fight got delayed a few times. So there's that to factor in.
He has had injury issues.
Yeah. So I don't know, but it's weird because remember we talked about Josh Taylor and said he's underrated. People should have eyes on him. They should be looking at him more. He got to the top, but then we call for it more.
Bro, we even went as far as to say that it's because he's Scottish, right? We said that's why he's not getting the props he deserves because he's not an Englishman, he's a Scot. Without being salacious as well, bro. I mean, you mentioned obviously, the injuries. There's been, not say grumblings because I think it's quite well known that I think Mr. Taylor himself likes to drink. I've seen quite a few interviews, posts like where he's looking a bit battered still. So I think there's been talks before about him maybe not living the life. You know how we say some boxers live the life inside and outside the ring, always in shape, don't touch drink. They're not. You know what I mean. So there has been talks about how outside the ring he doesn't really necessarily live the life per se. Maybe that's contributed. I don't know. Obviously, we're not in camp with this guy. We're not around this guy, so we don't know. But it definitely has been a swift rise and also a swift fall with Josh Taylor. And I don't know. I feel like it's almost a shame because I don't think he truly got the props he deserved. Even when he became undisputed in the way he did it and who he beat. Bro, the run was crazy. Going through that tournament, he's beaten world-class opposition after world-class opposition. It was a superb run. So seeing that, it's like, wow. But I didn't expect him to be losing to the likes of Essuman. I'll be so real. And this fight, get into the fight flows. It was a competitive fight. We've seen Essuman before, so we kind of know his strengths. He's seasoned, to be honest. Essuman, he's had more fights than Taylor, I'm pretty sure. Or similar amount of fights, but he's also 2 years older, isn't he? 36. He's strong, Eka. He's got a good engine. He comes forward. He doesn't wilt too easy. And watching this fight flows from the first couple rounds, don't forget this is in Scotland as well, so hometown, backyard in that sense. Josh has started pretty quick, to be honest. He's putting them things together. Like he's looking to make a statement clearly, backed by the home crowd. He's there, trying to really, apply pressure on Nekal. And he's landing some good shots, having some good exchanges. And I'm thinking, okay, I like what I see. I think he started the correct urgency, in my opinion. But it's something that we've been seeing in Josh Taylor fights where we kind of see him fade flows. And Ekal was able to respond in kind to the pressure that Josh Taylor put on him. And he was also able to sort of almost turn into a war of attrition. And that favors Ekal, I guess, because he's someone that tends to get stronger and is a strong fighter. And Josh himself is kind of, wilting as the fight progresses, which is concerning, but again, something we've seen before. So yeah, I just think that Taylor just allowed himself to become outworked by Ekal, and Ekal was able to keep applying pressure And while that's what Echo was doing, bro, whenever Josh Taylor would have a rally or some success, Echo would try to respond immediately, and he did respond immediately every time. And me, Foz, I'm always been a bigger fan of fighters that don't allow one fighter to up the ante on them. They turn it up as well. You know what I mean? So Echo was doing the right things in there, but the issue is at hand, bro. Like I said, I should be seeing a difference between Taylor and Echo when they're fighting, and I'm watching that fight and not seeing that difference. In fact, I'm seeing Echo begin to take the ascendancy and begin to, you know, be the one taking charge, and that is a worrying thing for me, to be honest, bro.
Yeah, look, we're not going to say Essuman is improved beyond Josh Taylor's level. We're going to have to say Josh Taylor's declined. Is the truth.
Yeah.
And look, Essuman's strong. He's competitive. We expected that, but there should have been a difference in class, and it wasn't. So for me, I'm looking at the roots Josh Taylor has now, and losing to Essuman is damning. Look, the fight was a fight. It was close, competitive, but to allow Essuman back in and start to dominate the later rounds really and win, I don't think. Do you agree he won?
Essuman won that fight.
Yeah, okay, fair. And I think that the consensus is that Essuman won. I don't think there's anyone calling it robbery.
Yeah, he won that fight.
Yeah, and I said last episode that look, the judges might try and bust Josh Taylor if he struggles, and I'm glad they didn't. So yeah, look, I think the only out for Josh Taylor right now, really, if we're looking ahead, is Carroll's got a fight coming up. If Carroll loses, this is the only out for him. If Carroll loses, then they can try and run that back in some way, shape, or form. But other than that, there's nothing out there for him. I mean, maybe a Regis, but he just they're all washed out. I
can't lie, bro.
And that's hard to say.
Flowz, I'm more interested in that, man.
Yeah,
I'm more interested in seeing Josh versus Carroll again. To be honest, I'm more interested in seeing Josh versus Regis. Is for me,
call it a day. So call it a day. Then it is. That's the only option.
Yeah, I'll probably say so. Yeah.
There's no shame in that, actually. I'm laughing, but there's no shame in it. He's a great career.
He's Hall of Fame career. Let's be real. He's undisputed.
Yeah.
Did it in damn near record time. What is there to do? He stayed at 142. I said that he said it 140 for too long. That's quite apparent, I think. Now up at 147, first fight against Essuman, who's lost, deservedly so. There's nowhere to pivot, bro. If we're keeping it being, where else are you going to pivot to at 147? We know who the killers are in that division. The Young Bucks coming up. Devin Haney's there, Ryan Garcia's there, Roddy's there. I can't believe I mentioned Roddy's name, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like, who else is there to fight? There isn't anyone else to fight really that he can have a credible run against. Do you put him up against a Conor Ben?
Not if you lose a Essuman. It's the fact.
Exactly. So that's the bottom line, man. I don't think there's anything he can offer at 147 in his current state. He's getting older, so he's going to decline even further. So yeah, I think calling it a day is a fair bet, if you ask me. Bro, it's been almost 5 years. When was the last Josh Taylor good Taylor performance we saw? He's been horrible for time. ACR. Yeah.
And that was a great performance as well. That's what's crazy. That was a beautiful performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe look, I'll give credit to Essuman. He can go on now. He's got a great name on his record.
Fantastic name, yeah.
And he can start banging on doors now, start demanding big fights, really. He can start demanding to be in the mix.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know for Josh Taylor. Maybe if he wants to hang around, and if Essuman starts to do wonders, he can say, look, I lost to a great fighter. And the loss doesn't look as bad in that sense.
Are you expecting Essuman to do wonders? If just not even throwing shade, but just be honest, are you expecting Essuman to do wonders?
At 147?
Yeah, at 147.
Killers? Nah, not really. Really. But look, he's treating Josh. Well, he's not really treating.
I wouldn't say treating
Josh Taylor. So
yeah,
he's beating Josh Taylor. So he can definitely put his name in the mix and upset other apple carts if possible. But if we're talking about the boots the Bootses or Tiafimo's looking to dabble in there. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. But still, we'll see.
Yeah,
I
we'll
don't know
see.
what's out there for Josh Taylor otherwise.
Mm, mm. Yeah, no shame if he had to hang it up. But he's one thing we know about Josh. He's a very, very proud Scotsman. So I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to carry on. But in my eyes, it's now the right time for him to call it a day. Maybe if he wants to have one last farewell fight in Scotland, call against a winnable opponent, go for it. But look, man, he's achieved everything he can
This was
achieve,
it.
in my opinion. Huh? Look, man, I knew you were going to say this was like this was the opportunity.
This was it. Yeah, man.
Oh,
Anyway,
look, man, where's Chris Congo at, man? But yeah, man, I think
yeah.
I think this is it for Josh, man. I really a great career, and like I said, it's just I didn't expect the decline to be so swift. I really didn't. And yeah, it obviously factors that might have gone against him, the injuries and whatnot. But it's a shame because I really want him to get the flowers that he deserved. But ultimately, when I'm listening to looking at casuals and whatnot, what I hear from casuals when they speak about Josh Taylor, they just talk about how cooked he is now and how he's done. They won't go back to the undisputed days. You know what I mean, Flo? So that's a shame.
They don't even know about those. They don't, because
All
really
they've seen
truly,
now for 4 years, all they've seen consistently is him getting cooked. If we keep their beat,
yeah.
yeah,
He should have been a hero. He got introduced to casuals as a villain because of
mm.
that first cattle fight where
Facts,
Cattle was robbed.
facts.
That's most casuals' first experience of Josh Taylor, really.
Mm.
And the way he moved after that, no immediate rematch, messing around, the
Word.
9 he lost, he
Yep.
was a villain for the get go. So
Yeah,
from
you're right.
there, in their eyes anyway. So yeah, it's peak for him.
Yeah, you're factual, man. Factual. But yeah, he probably never will get the props he deserves. Not now, anyways. But we know, we know, we know the real. We know the real. But yeah, call it a day, man. Call it a day, Josh. It's okay. It's done. Um, Undercard flows. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about him. Moses Itauma. When I say, bro, I have serious, serious stocks in this brother. I've been going back and forth with people about him this whole weekend. I'll be so real, bro. Back and forth about where I see him going. It's another amazing performance from Itauma, really. A highlight reel knockout, to be honest. He stopped this Balogun brother in 2 rounds and just a phenomenal display, which we've come to expect from Itauma. Not just a phenomenal display of boxing, a phenomenal killer instinct as well. Like, yeah, he's killed this guy, bro, and got him out of there in 2 rounds. I think by the end of it, we've seen Balogun sort of on the floor, like lying down, like he's in the bed, like face planted, like he's done. Yeah, you're laughing, but he was a peak knockout, bro. It was a very, very peak knockout. Um,
All the knockdowns were crazy. All of
Crazy
them.
knockdowns. And you know what? I wouldn't give props to Balogun. Yeah, he got stopped in 2 rounds, but I like the fact that that final knockdown, the second to last knockdown, I didn't think he'll beat the count, but you know his flows. He's gotten up and he said, "F it then," and just throw the kitchen sink against the tower. He said, "I might as well go out of my shield." Bro, respect it, brave,
Yeah.
because he knew it was done. He knew, okay, cool, this guy's gonna kill me, but at least let me go out swinging. Let me here before I leave. He's got to feel me at least. That's what he was with. Like you gonna feel something. So fair play to him because that probably got himself knocked out even worse. But yeah, man, look, this wasn't the point. Obviously, this Balogun guy, I think ex NFL player, 41 years. I didn't realize he was so old, 41 years old. I don't know where they found him. Um, He's lost with someone. He's lost to someone we know. Who's he lost to? Someone we know actually.
Yes. Gassiev's come to mind. Is it Gassiev?
Gassiev. Yes, Gassiev stopped him in two.
Gassiev?
Gassiev stopped him in two. Yeah. Um, but let's talk about Moses, bro, and how far we see Moses going because I've been having a lot of back and forth with people who feel like Moses is overhyped. Flows. There's people saying obviously he's obviously clearly very good talent, has a lot of potential, but he hasn't fought anyone, which is true. He hasn't really fought anyone. And he's fought guys he's to destroy. But my point to them was, I can agree with you that, yeah, maybe he is getting a lot of hype and whatnot, and he's beating bums, if you want to call them bums, Sukans, whatever. It's true. But sometimes with boxing, bro, when you see talent and you know talent and you just see it, it's hard to ignore. And I use Boots as an example, bro. We were calling Boots his name and saying, yo, this guy, the future for this division, way before he even had a belt. Like when he was like 20 and 0 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just see it. And I have that same feeling with Moses, bro. Yes, he hasn't fought anyone. And, he's still a rookie. But I see it. I see that talent. There's still things I want him to, get to. I always say he's 20, 13 fights in. Don't rush it. Keep on moving him. Take his time with him. He still has to, in my opinion, put on some size because he's still too small for the division, if you ask me. Put on a bit of size. We still have yet to see his chin tested, so we don't know. But overall, bro, I definitely do see the potential and the talent. And in my opinion, he's the future of the division. If they move him correctly and if he carries on his trajectory. But yeah, man, what are your thoughts on Moses, bro? And are people right to be shouting about him or not?
Yeah, I think it's harsh to even say he's fought no one because the people he has fought have been in there with other people. Marius Wack, yes, a finished Wack, but we don't see Marius Wack get stopped too often. A lot of people have been in the ring with him and haven't really done what Moses done to him.
Yeah.
Then there was the Dempsey McKean one, which I think a lot of people kind of that put a lot of people on because it was on the undercard of something.
I think probably one of the Fury Usyk cards, maybe. Possibly.
I think it was on the card of like a big fight, and that's where a lot of people started messaging me about, who's this Moses Itauma? The first time I'm seeing him, he killed Dempsey McKean, who we saw
against Joseph Parker.
With
was it Hrgovic? Hrgovic might be Hrgovic.
It was Hrgovic. Damn, they went the distance with Hrgovic, and then Itauma killed him too. So, and listeners, remember, Itauma is 20 years old.
Yeah.
20?
20.
20.
I think he's just turned 20. Yeah.
So, look, I think it's fair to be shouting about him now because he's got time, he's got talent, everything on his side, apart from, like you say, the size, because he's not the biggest heavyweight. But at 20 years old, he's still got man strength to go into. Really, he's still a youth at this point. And he's doing this
in the heavyweight division wise. He's still you're right.
He's still a young kid. So look, they can take their time with him. He can slowly maneuver, work his way up. There's no rush. There really is no rush. So you guys, listeners, you're still early if you want to get stocks in now. Still early.
Get a wise up. Yeah, that's Flowz. That is the main thing. There's no need to rush this kid. 20 years old. Obviously, because of the way the heavyweight division is, we kind of know that with that division, you're not too far away from anything, right? And all you need is a couple more fights, and next thing you know, you're in contention because the heavyweight division isn't really the deepest, if you know what I mean. And I did see the other day how obviously he's already been ranked number 1 now in WBO standards. They've ranked him as number. Yeah, I think it got announced yesterday actually that they put him number 1 in the rankings. So already, but that's how like I said, you said before, the heavyweight division, you're 2 fights away from being in contention. So that's how it is. Obviously, I don't expect him to be fighting the likes of Joseph Parker anytime soon, and then them kind of guys there. But he's doing what he needs to be doing, what needs to be done for us in terms of beating what's in front of him. I think that he, as you mentioned, obviously sort of growing to his body. He doesn't need to. He just needs to put on a bit of size for me because obviously you've got people in the heavyweight division that generally are really, really big and hard to shift, and they could put that that man body on him. So but his speed and his footwork is definitely an asset, bro. But what impressed me the most is, despite the amazing boxing skills, the speed, the footwork, the power, there's a killer there, bro. there generally is a killer there. I think like he's mean with it, bro. He has that killer in him. So, and in the heavyweight division, that's going to serve him so well, as we know. So, yeah, look, bro, I'm just happy to carry on seeing this guy's progress and growth. He's not going to be fighting for world titles this year. Probably not next year either, if we're keeping it a buck. Maybe, but probably not. But this is generally a bona fide heavyweight prospect that we're seeing, who really is a cruiserweight, if we're being honest. But yeah, let's see how far he can go. But I think he can go very, very far. He is quality to me. And I've said it before, out of all the British lot, he's the only one, in my opinion, whose chain is real. In my opinion. Yeah. Only one who's trained. I mean, yeah, the British lot don't call his name, but obviously I still think he should be going through taking out some of these British guys. If you know, he's kind of away from that right now. I mean, away from the Wardleys, the Clarks, the Adelaides, the Fishers. Do you think he should be getting in the mix with these men? Or is he already separated himself he's kind of on his own little path?
Look, for selfish reasons, I say yes, get in the mix with them. I would
Facts.
like to see all these stuffs.
Yeah.
But I know for pride reasons, them man don't want to see him. You can't be getting touched up by a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
And you're meant to be ahead of or looking down on almost, because you're meant to be, you have aspirations. So
yeah,
it's high risk, low reward for them, man. Especially the British crop. Maybe like a Gorman would see him, because Gorman's already taken a few L's.
Yeah.
Yes, people have taken a few L's, but right now, them man are trying to build their name. They don't want it snatched off them too early. So yeah. We'll see. But yeah, my only concern with Moses is that because he's so young, if he burns out too early, or if he gets to the level like AJ did, where he's only fighting twice a year so early, I hope he doesn't have that difficulty. So he learns his craft and he doesn't burn out too early. It's a fine balance. So his team around him need to manage him well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's true. Let's just keep watching. But right now, it's looking very, very nice. It's looking very, very nice. So keep on doing what you're doing, Moses. We're big fans, and we got our stocks in early. Let's see if other people follow suit before it gets too hot. And yeah, just correct match. I think, like I said, Queensbury, just keep matching him. Keep on the pace that he's going on. Correct matchmaking, put him in the right kind of guys that can help him in his infancy of his career. He can put on size and do more things as well. Eventually, we'll see his chin get tested. We'll see how he responds to that. But right now, you can see the talent. You can see the speed, the footwork, the skills. There was one time in there when Balogun was throwing haymakers. This guy bobbed and slipped every single punch, spun round, then popped him. I said, yeah. This little brother's cold. This little brother's cold. Yeah, man. He's dope, man. I look forward to everything.
Stop Balogun mid swing.
Mid swing, bro.
Haymaker.
Brother.
Stopped. Yeah, dropped him mid. Yeah, crazy.
He's crazy talented, man. Crazy talented. Cool, Flowz. Let's quickly discuss what we've got coming up next week. You do have a PBC card in the offering. Two fighters who are very well known to us are headlining the bill. I guess the main event is the return of Mr. Caleb Plant. He is fighting a guy called Jose Armando Resendiz, Mexican fighter. And then we've also got the return of Jamal Charlo, who is fighting a guy called Thomas Lamana. Let's start with Plant first, I guess, bro. It's an interesting card, obviously, the fact that they've got Charlo and Plant on the same card, which obviously speaks to the fact that, obviously, I'm assuming, obviously, I mean, they both really hinted it at the press conferences. I've seen, I think, one press conference where they both were looking spicy at each other, talking a little bit. But we know Caleb Plant and Jamal Charlo have history. There's a slap that needs to be, accounted for. It's true. They actually have to see each other. Yeah. I'll be so real. They need to see each other. We need a conclusion to that.
Jamal needs to see him. Is the truth?
Oh, Jamal, yeah. Jamal has to see him. Like, I don't see Jamal fight anyone else, really and truly, until he answers, and he counts for that slap. that slap shook the room. It shook the room. So we need to find out what's going on there. So yeah, I guess the plan here is if Caleb wins his fight and Jamal wins his fight, we should be seeing Caleb versus Jamal. But yeah, I'm not too familiar with both the opponents, bro. I'll be so real. Caleb Plant has this. He tends to fight randoms, to be honest, bro. We've said it before. Caleb Plant's resume, he's got a good resume, but in aside from the Canelos and the Benavideses and what's it called, the Durrells, he's got a lot of guys on there who were very unfamiliar to us. So this resident is similar to me, anyways. I'm looking at he's got 15 wins, 11 by KO, 2 losses. His losses were to Elijah Garcia and a guy called Marcos Hernandez. He fought Jared Hurd 2 years ago. He beat Jared Hurd. That's the only notable name on his resume, bro. So yeah, not too familiar with him, but again, I guess this is kind of like a Plant's last fight was what? Mukumbi, I think he was, right? Trevor Mukumbi, yeah.
Oh, yeah, where he got dropped. How many times he got dropped?
I think just once. But then I think it was once. I remember it being once. I don't remember it being more than once, Was it twice?
More than once.
That'd be twice.
I think so.
I just remember that he stopped the guy eventually, I think, in the 7th or 8th round. But yeah, that was his last opponent, the Mukumbi guy. So yeah. I mean, expect Plant to do what he normally does and treat, his opponent, especially this is an opponent that we don't know at all. But yeah, I guess as we said, it's a setup for the fight with Jamal. Jamal is more intriguing, right, Flowz, because obviously, where's he been all these years?
Yeah, I have to go check. I have to check again.
Yeah, but when was Miles' last fight? I think he fought
2023. Yeah, 2023.
Yeah, okay, against Benavides Jr. Right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. A gimme fight because Benavides Jr. is small.
Yeah. I think from what I'm seeing, I think this fight against this Lamana guy is gonna be at middleweight still. Or from what I can see, I'm still seeing that it's gonna be at middleweight. But obviously,
Miles 154, not 160.
No, Mal was a 160. Yeah, so Mel
was 160. Yeah.
Yeah, Mel's 154. Yeah. So this fight is still going to be a middleweight, but obviously when he does fight, if he does win and Plant wins, I know that fight will be a super middleweight. That fight will be 168. Mal is naturally he's big anyway, so 168 makes sense regardless. To be honest, so this Lamar, so Mal obviously he come on off a UD win against Jose Benavides Jr. But before Jose Benavides, we know he was out for a very long time. He was out for 2 years. So this is actually Miles' second fight in 4 years, which is crazy.
He doesn't still have the belt, does he? He does. They took it off him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have the belt anymore. Who is the WBC champion at 160 now?
They let him hold on to that criminally.
Yeah. Hang on, let me check who the current middleweight WBC champion is. It's Adames.
Oh yes, of course, yes.
So yeah, he's up against Thomas Lamana. Thomas Lamana is a veteran, to be honest, 33 years old, 39 fights, 5 losses. He lost against Aries Landilara in 2021, Brian Mendoza, Jorge Cota, Dustin Hernandez, Antoine Douglas. Some of those names are familiar to us. We've seen Mendoza before. We've seen Jorge Cota. We've seen Charlo kill Cota before. I think Mel actually killed Cota. It was Mel that killed Cota. But yeah, again, I think it's an opponent that I expected that for Mar to look good against, Mar to get this win. And yeah, like I said, hopefully, I wouldn't be surprised if it's an upset, Flowz, but fingers crossed, they both know. Sometimes when you try to set up these fights and then suddenly someone lets it down. But yeah, it should be, hopefully, fingers crossed, it should be plain sailing for both. Not plain sailing, but it should be a routine win for both these fighters so we can get what we want to get on, if you know what I mean. So Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, both wins. Hopefully, Charlo wins. Plant wins, and maybe afterwards there might be a little, something in the ring between both of them. Who knows? But yeah, both of you, please win. Mal, you just said that slap needs to be accounted for. That's all I want. That's all I want to see. That slap needs to be accounted for.
Saw they shake hands at a press conference. I don't know if it was shake hands as in we're cool now or shake hands as in yeah, we're gonna get this on.
Get this on. I think it was that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they have to then. Cool.
Yeah.
Look. Let's keep a buck. It's good to see Mal back because
to be honest,
Charlo's careers.
Good point, bro. Because we can call him Mal and whatnot, and yeah, you know where has he been by? But one thing we do know, Mal has been dealing with or dealt with serious issues outside the ring in his household, obviously with his wife, all that kind of stuff. That was real. And I think he's gone through mental health issues, all that kind of stuff, as a result of what he was dealing with outside of the ring. So it's good to see him back in that sense. So yeah, I agree.
He might still be dealing with it.
Yeah,
I saw a little clip of him. He burst.
Bro, look, we know when it's not right at home, bro. It's peak, right? So, yeah.
Look,
I hope he's okay.
Good to see him back. Yeah, and we hope he's okay for sure.
Yeah, for sure. PBC card, so I hope to see the usual characters in attendance, bro. I just hope to see the usual jewelry in attendance. Get your diamond testers out because the boys they're gonna have it on. They're gonna be out there. They'll have it on. The chokers, the watches, fake. That is fake. Hopefully Mel's there as well, amping up Mal. So yeah, I want to see it all, man. So yeah, good card. Good to see both of these guys back in action. Hopefully we get 2 wins and we can then see them fight later on in the year. That'd be great. But yeah, Flowz, I think we can leave it there. This has been episode 249 of the SZN podcast. Once again, I'm your boy Kam.
Boy Flowz.
And as always, guys, you know where to find us on the streaming platforms. Peace.
You taking a strap? I'm strapped up.
What was that about?
Let's make the fight happen. We strapped the fuck up.